Okay, let's continue over here, Ben Hashem Yisbarach. We're up to Torah Tes, we're up to Ois Gimel. We ran through Aleph and Beis again yesterday, but again the idea that the last part of Beis was that even the Malachim, in order for them to get their das, and what are Malachim? Let's just remember what are Malachim. Malachim are messengers. Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim Aleisav. Right? What does Rashi say? Well, how do we type this? Malachim Mamash. Meaning Shlichim and Malachim are the exact same thing. Malachim Mamash, Rashi is saying, hey, you can repeat this again from the Marak, remember in a second, the Rebbe of the Arizal wrote a sefer on wrote a sefer on Chimish, and it was like 20-30 volumes big. Anyway, he saw it was too big. He went and he made it smaller, and he made it smaller, and he made it smaller. Busy made it mamish, and he sees it's Rashi. Wow. Rashi word for word, meaning everything. Have a great day, let it have a good day. Everything that Rashi says is all Kabbalah. It's all everything. We learned it as kids, and we understood every Rashi one way. Rashi is completely different than the way we understand it. Rashi has in it, we understand Rashi to be Pshat. Pshat, Remez, Drush, and Soid are all in Rashi. Rashi has everything. So when Rashi says, Vayishlach Yaakov Malachim, what does Rashi say? Malachim Mamash. Yeah, that's not Pshat. Can't be Pshat. So you see that he's not saying Pshat. But what so, meaning what Rashi's saying is, Malachim and messengers are the same exact thing. Malachim are just messengers. That's exactly what they are. Think of it the exact opposite way. Not that he sent Malachim. Messengers are Malachim. Malachim are messengers. That's all they are. Malachim mamash. That's exactly. If you want to understand what Malachim are, they are messengers. Every thought, speech, and action that we do sends off vibration.
You don't have to
sends
go so
off
far
messages.
to say malachim. Even every encounter you have in the world, every person you meet, the man on a bus, messenger.
Everything is messages. Exactly. Those are the revealed ones. Malachim are the things and the vibrations that we cannot see. And have a great day. So when it says that malachim also, in order for them to have their ultimate way of being Mishabeach Hashem, the first thing they have to do is be Mishabeach their tzaddik, which is Baruch Hu Hashem's malachim. First they have to be Mishabeach Hashem, which is their tzaddik.
Then they Rosh Hashanah.
Now he's going into another whole interesting piece. Gimel. This idea that we can zoicha to be Mishabeach the tzaddik, and through that we're masakin the moichin, and we draw down the dibur into the das. This comes beginnes begadim levanim, white clothing. Generally, white clothing is a symbol of somebody that's very pure, somebody specific in Kamabris. Hainu tikkun adibur, shu beginnes malchus peh, hu beginnes begadim levanim.
Not tikkun bris, tikkun dibur,
which is all the same. Because the peh is considered malchus. In the Kunizaya it says malchus is peh. Hu bechenes begadim levanim. The way he says it here, Pirish, k'misakin es adibur, when we rectify our dibur, what he's referring to over here, rectifying the dibur, he's saying, talking about tzaddikim, shu b'sfiris ha-malchus, b'tikkun ha-klali, Shaladibra, Shuhu Shvach HaTzadikim, Zo B'chinis B'Gadol Levanim, She'eni Zamor Al Yichad HaKadosh Baruch Hu L'Hashana HaSfiris HaYesod Im Sfiris HaMalchus. So we know the last two of the Eser Sfiris is what? Is Yesod and Malchus, right? Yesod, if you're looking at a body, right, Yesod would be the bris. Meaning, if we want to take the body and into the Eser Sfiris, we know the Eser Sfiris, right? If we're starting with Keser, which would be the top. But, right, then you have Chachma Bina Das, right side of the brain, left side of the brain. Das is the intelligence, the neck, that's bringing it down in. Then right hand would be Chesed, left hand would be Gvura, body would be Tferes, correct. Body would be Tferes, right leg Netzach, left leg Hoid, Ois Bris Kodesh, Uyesoid, and then Malchus, which is the last one, which is as we experience life, what our experience is. Malchus is the last thing, is what's fed. Yesoid feeds into Malchus, and that's based on all of the Esa spheres that comes down into Yesoid. That's what creates our reality. The same way Yesoid in our body creates babies and creates new foundations and new relationships, and the Yesoid piece is the thing that creates our reality. So as we take all the Esa spheres from, right, Chachma, Bina, Das, Chesed, Gvura, Tferes, Netzach, Hoid, and that all goes into Yesoid, which goes into Malchus. But the Tikkun Zohar calls Malchus is Peh. Malchus, the thing that's accepting it all, is the Peh. So he's saying Tikkun HaDibur is the perfect relationship between Yesoid and Malchus. When Yesoid and Malchus have harmony, when they feed into each other properly, which in our body, if we were doing it as our structure, would be our Tikkun HaBris, which is our Yesoid. You know, Tzadik Yesoid Olam is Yosef, because he's the whole Midas HaYesoid. It's where the Shefa comes through. It's how life is formed. We have to be very, very careful about our clothing, not to embarrass and be crude about our clothing. To keep them properly, not to have any stains or rips or tears that should be a fleck on his clothing.
There are other like complete apikarsik versions of this, I'm assuming. Like
they're not apikarsik versions.
All these are related.
They're all the same version. They're just interconnected to different things. We have the same exact maps. There's just you're adding on more layers. Right. You're adding on the months. You're adding on the shvatim. You're adding on.
These are Jewish concepts in here, in this one.
The zodiacs, sure. You're adding on all of these to the as the spheres. They're all interconnected. Every single one. There's feelings and emotions and all of that are interconnected. If you look at that right over the clock over there, you'll see. No, over the clock.
Yeah, with the menorah.
Over the menorah over there. Yeah. You'll see a lot of interconnections between a lot of the shemus, a lot of the things. It's a great map and it's a great thing to sometimes study.
Oh, wow, this is a cool one.
But that's based on Kundalini awakening.
It's cool over the body. I'm just looking at different versions of those.
Because just so you understand, once we're on this conversation, once you're looking at it, you familiar with Kundalini at all? No. Kundalini is raw sexual energy, which is at the base of the spine, like a coiled serpent. That's what they call it in India and all of that. They call it Kundalini and they call it a coiled serpent, and it's just waiting to be released. It can be released
in a good way,
or it can be released no way. Right? The kints is, and if you realize, if you go into Moedim, and you look at the halachas in Moedim, also, we think halacha is, look at halacha in Moedim, and you'll see it says, when you get up from Moedim, get up like a snake. Right? Remember the snake thing in Moedim? Where is the snake? What's the snake have to do with it? Because it's all the same thing. They're talking about, there are ways of taking that. There are ways of taking that raw sexual energy that's dormant at the base of the spine and rising it. They call it through the chakras. We call it through the midas, through the spheres. And you can take that through backwards up. They take it all the way back into the head, into there. Either yes or no. I've heard two different ways. Rabbi Pinson's whole. You remember 2 years ago he was giving on
Yeah.
on Shemana Esrei.
Yeah. I was talking about
On
Moedim, he was talking
Moedim,
about
this is what he was talking about, if you remember.
I remember.
Since then, I've done 2 years of Googling. Yeah. On it.
Yeah. Like he sometimes like throws in a word or two.
And you don't understand what
and
he's
it's a
saying.
huge topic, but
You just got to Google it for 2 years to hop what he was saying. Yeah, in 30 seconds that we didn't begin to understand. I remember him asking, you understand what I'm talking about? I said, no. Anyway, but this is the same thing. If you, it's funny you were at the shit.
Yeah, I was there.
And this is exactly what he's talking about. When we bend down Moedim, when we're grateful, there's this ability to draw up this energy up through. So it would first go through, your stomach, then into your chest, then into your throat, then into your head. And if you consciously, during Moedim, squeeze that area, literally, that's what it is. It's a physical exercise, and consciously say, I'm using my raw energy that I can create another human being with, and I'm drawing it up into my heart, and I'm going to love with all my heart, with all of this raw energy. I'm putting it into my heart to love with, and I'm bringing it up into my head to think with.
Have you ever heard about like converting an orgasm to a brain control your brain?
This is what they're saying. This is a Kundalini orgasm is either a heart orgasm or a brain orgasm. It only stays inside. It doesn't go anywhere.
Interesting.
Yeah. There are those that have problems. There are those that have problems with it because generally it was associated with different Avodazaras to do these types of things.
There's always contradicting.
There's always contradicting views on these things. I'm not putting it out there. Hinduism will come up before Judaism when it comes to these things.
Yeah.
If you look at, like we were discussing yesterday about the pyramids, if you look at what the pyramids were about, it's the same thing. They had these vibrations that they would play, and they would reach different levels of consciousness. They had all their harems in there to turn themselves on in different ways. It was and use that energy. They all knew how to use the tantric energy to really create different things. Understanding the power of it. Pornography made it so cheap and valueless, and it's the lowest level, and we feel guilty about it, and it became the most shameful thing, sexuality, when it's just the whole lie. It's the most powerful thing we have, and we can use it in the most powerful ways.
We have to have a conversation about this stuff.
Feel free to join the conversation.
We're having it right now.
We usually start every day.
Feel free to have the conversation.
Private meeting.
Oh, you need a private meeting.
Oh.
So here he's talking about not having any stains on our clothing, and the higher up you are, and the bigger tzaddik you are, and the more pure you are on the inside, be sure your clothing are white on the outside. And as white as possible. Anybody that's larger, anybody that works on themselves more, anybody that reaches elevated levels of consciousness, with him we're medaktik more. Like the Gemara says, Baal Kain, Talmid Chacham Shenimtze Revav al Begadav Chayev Misa.
Wow.
Up to the level that the Gemara says that a Talmid Chacham that has a stain on his clothing, Chayev Misa. I remember in Borough Park on 43rd Street and 16th Avenue, there was a cleaners and he had this hanging. This thing. Ki imai, what's the chab? The Rebbe is saying why, if a Talmid Chacham, a tzaddik, has a stain on his clothing, is he to the level of that he's chayiv misa? Ki imai medaktik and yoyser, because with a tzaddik we're medaktik the most. Ki begadim ha'atzman him dana noisei. The begadim are what is judging him. Bebechinas dina de malchusa. Ki begadim heim bechinas malchus.
Clothes do make
Clothing is the most outer expression of everything. That's the malchus, that's the lavush. Rabbi Yochanan called it lamana mechabdusa. Rabbi Yochanan used to call his clothing his mechabdusa. So you see, covered and clothing are interchangeable. So zeh bechinas malchus, bechinas malach hakavod. What?
What's it got to do with Dibin? How does it connect it to Dibin?
We're getting there. We're getting there. Bechenes tzedek malchusa kadisha. So he's connecting covered to malchus, to begadim, to Jezel bechenes habegadim, bechenes tzedek lavashti. Hamavaza isam, and somebody that disrespects these begadim nimtza shu kamoyed b'malchus, because he just tied begadim to malchus to cover to malchus to this. So he says, when he makes a bechenes, when the Rebbe makes a bechenes, it's all equal. Everything's now on the same equal playing field. And therefore, if you're not respecting your clothing, you're completely disregarding the whole malucha. The whole thing you're taking for yourself. The din of the malchusa, the din of Sfiris Malchus, don oisai. Woo! Din of the malchusa, the din of the malchus. That's what's the Sfiris Malchus? Your clothing. He just said, will judge you. Val yedei zeh, and this, and through this, that he has stains and tears in his clothing. Oisa pedet ben kedusha kutchabrichu shchentei. We know that everything we do is l'shem yichad kutchabrichu shchentei, right? Meaning everything we do, we start our day, the first thing we say is, my job here today is to be miyachet shem yud-kei b'vav-kei. That's what we say about everything, right? So what are we saying? Yichad kutchabrichu, to make a yichad, because this guy's making a peilet ben kutchabrichu and shchentei. Let's understand what a yichad of a kutchabrichu and what a peilet is. A yichad of kutchabrichu means, there's 4 letters in Hashem's name, the basic name that we know, the yud-kei vav-kei. The Yud-Kei are what's Lamala. The Vav is, again, the Sfiris HaYesoid, the same shape as the Sfiris HaYesoid of the Eispritz Kodesh, which is the Vav, which comes down, which draws down from the Yud-Kei. And the final Hey is as we experience life. That's how the Yud-Kei system works. When we come and we say, L'Shem Yichud, Kutchabrichu is shchentei. So the Yud-Kei, if you look at the Pekad Eliezer, when we start off, before davening, where it says, those two, Yud-Kei and Vav-Kei, are Trei Lei and Delei Mischabrim. I mean, they never get, two friends that never get separated, the Yud-Kei. We can never think about what it means to separate the Yud from the Kei. It's way above us. What we can do is make ourselves think that we're the boss down here and there's no Hashem. So we're the final Hey, and we're not drawing the Vav into the Hey. So our job is, when we stand and we say we're putting on a talis and we're putting on tefillin, what we're saying is we're being miyached. We're saying there's the Yud-Kei, which is complete havaya, which is complete godliness. There's the Vav Hey, which is the down here. And I am making when I'm putting on my talis, when I'm wrapping my tefillin, I'm connecting physically, the Yud Hey with the Vav Hey. I'm taking it, I'm saying, although I live down here in 2025, and I'm wearing regular clothes, and I'm a regular person, I'm really part of a spiritual world. By connecting my down here on my physical skin, putting on a skin of an animal, and thinking that this is going to do something, when I'm putting on my tefillin, what am I doing? I'm being miyached. I'm saying that no, there's much more here. I understand that these are antennas that are drawing in and drawing out much more powerful things than I can see and feel. So that's a yichud of kutchabrichu and shchinte. When a Talmud Chacham has a stain on his clothing, that's saying there's a separation between the ultimate Yud-Kei and the Vav-Kei. Val yedei zeh, oy seped ben kutchabrichu shchintei, b'b'chenes nachash mesiach la legaba, va'atul ba zuama. This is referring to when the Nachash came to Chava, he noishich b'sviris Malchus, a Matul Bazum means he bitter, and he put it in a zuama is like a poison, and it says till Matan Torah that was in there. Ki adech adam yesh kayt nachzlen lid ma machz lahat bazum. Bebeginnes dam nida, bebeginnes madua adam lil bushacha. Why is your clothing red? V'zeh beginnes hakesim v'aravav v'shenim tzal b'gdai. Shal yedei zeh nefredes beginnes hamalchus anal. Shehi shchinas uzay mikud shabricho. She'az sha'ig yeshag alaveyo. He will cry on his nava, on the beauty, al nava delay, on the beauty of his own. And then there's negative. Shifcha Bisha is considered lilas. We know there's something called the Samach Mem. The Samach Mem has a wife. The Nukfa side of the Samach Mem is known as lilas. So whenever you see that, and that's Shifcha Bisha.
I don't know what any of those words mean. What's nukva?
The feminine side.
Oh, okay.
Feminine side.
Samach mem. What's samach mem?
The negative dark side of Kedusha
It's called Sam.
is called, his full name is Samach Mem, then Aleph Lamed. But like we don't say those names, we don't say that name either. So we just call him the Samach Mem.
The dark side of what?
The dark side of all Kedusha, of all holiness.
Yitzhahara?
Everything. The Yitzhahara draws his energy from the
Samach Mem.
The Samach Mem. Samach Mem is the dark side. Again, in order to have light, there must be dark. You cannot have all light, otherwise it won't be. There needs to be, there was Shviras HaKelim. The way the word was originally created it was all light, but then we had the original Shviras HaKelim, and that Shviras HaKelim created broken vessels, and those broken vessels are the dark side. The broken vessels means it gives us an opportunity to choose. It gives us bechira. It gives us a way to have positive love and negative love. It gives us ability to have positive gevura, strength, and negative gevura. That's because everything
If
has
there's
a
no
dark side.
If there's no dark side, you can't appreciate the light.
There's no light.
Right.
Gemara says a candle in the middle of daylight does nothing for you.
Right.
What are you going to do with candle in daylight?
So what was the part that I...
So Malchus is a dark. When you have stains on your clothing, a tzaddik, you're literally giving more energy to the dark side. When referring in Mishlei, it is when a shivcha, which is the maid, all of a sudden starts yarshening her boss, meaning she takes over the boss. Imagine the guy in the house all of a sudden. My daughter asks all the time, I don't understand how the system happened. Why do the Mexicans work for the Jews?
Why not?
Why not the other way around? Why the Jews, why the women are working for the Mexicans? Who decided every Mexican willing to work for the Jews? Why don't they stay home and the Jews should come to them and work for them? Who decided that it goes this way? I said because they're willing to.
Exactly.
Because they're willing to. Not. They have their, and this is their avodah. There's nothing. They're just willing to. The Jewish women are serving Eid.
It's a schis for them,
They
yeah.
have bigger things to do. They have other things to do. They have to go shopping
Yeah.
to look pretty for the Eid. But if you think about it for a second, why do we get milk from a cow? Well, it loves us.
Latzach. Exactly.
It's the same thing
Right.
because he allows it. Yeah. So imagine all of those Taka took over. She in the Zohar is called Isha. She bechinish Esra. A bad woman is the same idea as a bad time. Kiyesh Koyach, which is 28 itim letoiva, itim lera. In Kehalas, when it says Eish lehoy veis lesnoi eis, right? Laledas veis lamos, right? All the back and forth. There's 28. So there's 14 that are good, and 14 that are bad. But we have to be conscious of this Samach Mem, the wife of the Samach Mem, the thing that's drawing us to the thing, right? So if we understand that the Samach Mem is bad, I once had a horrible story in court where some guy used a credit card of mine 7 years ago, and the guy he used it with was fraud, whatever. I ended up in court in a horrible situation. But those guys were already caught and knew, they were already arrested and everything, but I had to testify in court. And the only thing I said, we say in our prayers every morning, full blown. I said, we say in our prayers every morning, may God protect us, may Adam Ra, may Chavara, from bad people and from bad friends. So it begs the question, why would he be my friend if he was a bad person? Why do I need two? If he's a bad person, they're both the same thing. I said, because sometimes you don't know that your friends are bad till much later.
Wow. And just bought it?
And I said, I guess I didn't pray hard enough.
The problem is in the prayer, not in the crime at all.
Problem was my prayer wasn't good enough.
It's a good Jewish response.
The judge,
A twist, not a response.
it was the DA looks at me, he goes, you just summed up your whole defense in one sentence. I'm not saying anything. I'm saying they are my friends. They were my friends. I'm not denying it. I just didn't know what they were at the time.
What they were up
Their
to.
intentions were.
What their intentions were. If I would have known they were Adam Ra, they wouldn't have been my friends.
Yeah.
So sometimes I just didn't pray hard enough. I'm so sorry.
And he bought it?
He asked at the end of my speech, my lawyer told me they're going to ask you about 100 questions. You answer yes or no. You don't say nothing more. I came in there. Let me tell you a story. I was born in
Your lawyer
South
wanted to
Falls,
kill you.
I started from the
Fertile diarrhea
beginning.
on the top.
An hour and a half I spoke. When I finished, they had their 100-something questions. Every question was answered, no further questions. The DA says, I'd like to be your friend. He says, I see what you do for friends. Because I knew every question they had. I went through my discovery. They sent me discs and discs of discovery, why they charged me. I came, I showed them everything. Before you ask me one question, let me tell my story. If you have any questions at the end, I know what you think. I went through everything you sent me. I pulled it out, I highlighted it. I think it was 182 questions were answered. Best in the story.
I rest my case.
And here's my game. This is my game. And I took a huge chance because I told her I did something called Queen for a Day. You could do a deal with the DA where they'll tell you, we'll accept whatever you tell us with an open mind. But what you're doing is you're giving them your entire defense on a silver platter, and you can't change anything you tell them here in court. So,
You can either choose to do that or just answer yes or no.
or go to trial. I could have said, no, I don't want to sit with you. I'm going to trial. I'll tell my case in trial. I know I'm winning in trial. I'm happy to go to trial. You'll lose in trial. If I'm confident in my case that I can convince a jury, but you never know with them. They can come up with lies that you have no idea about.
Yeah, stories.
Stories you have no idea, and you can't answer it. You meant one thing, and they're going to present it another way. So many, it's such sheker. When I saw what I was dealing with the sheker, I said, get me out of here. They gave me dismissal with apology.
The darkest place.
And then I said I won't sue.
Court system.
Very, very dark place. Very, very dark place. So non-emes. Nobody means emes. They're not the judge, not the lawyer, not the prosecutor.
And then the two
Nobody
opposing
wants to
counsels
emes.
go out for lunch together. They're fighting and then they go out for lunch together.
Nobody means emes. Nobody means
He's on your side, you're paying him top dollar, and then he with the opposing counsel go chill, whatever. Like it's
so sheker.
Yes, it's that frustrating. It's that frustrating.
done my shit, yeah.
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 We all have.
We have to really get control of this, the feminine side, which means the thing that draws us into I get into this because I said, what draws us into Adam Ra? There's always, there's an enticing part, which is the lilis, which is the feminine thing. The thing that's drawing us in. If we knew evil was evil, if we knew Samach Mem
Lilis
was...
is feminine?
Yeah. Lilis is the woman's side, the wife
Of the Samach
of
Mem.
the Samach
Isn't
Mem.
it Lily?
Okay.
So when we know something's bad, we stay away from it until there's a lilas involved. That's the whole idea of the wife of the samach man. And how when she esra, and over here of course he throws in she al yaday tikkun abris, shal yad miram ma'moichin.
That's crazy that the word Lilith. There's like I think they say like the woman that comes in like wet dreams at night, the angel of what's called Lilith or something.
That's the same name. It's the same
And
person.
of them,
It's the same. It's the same angel.
what's the name of the thing
Lilith
that
is-
stays
is
after you
Lilith.
die?
That's crazy.
It's also Lilith, no?
No, you're talking about Luz.
Ah,
Liz,
Lilith,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that's
בצריך להכניס שפך בשביל עשרה בכנס בכל עץ יהיה בגדך לבנם. At all times your clothing should be white. B'chal eis daika. In all times specifically. That she shouldn't have any control over you at any time. B'gadecha levanim ayne b'loy levav. Your clothing, your nefesh should be pure without any stains. Ayne b'chenes tahara. Tahara sashchina minidasa. Cleaning shchina from its nida. What is nida? Nida is a lost opportunity, right? Why is a woman tell me? Because it's a lost opportunity. She can conceive during this time, and what does a lost opportunity turn into? It turns into dam nida. Dam nida is every time there's lost opportunities. Whenever
it
there's
goes to the dark
it
side.
goes to the dark side. That's why there's a tumah in it. And keeping your clothing clean is the idea of keeping the shechina clean from its nidasa. But bechenes, like the Gemara says, dam necher v'nasa chalav. Says when a woman starts nursing, where does the milk come from? It's the same blood that would have turned into dam nida that is transfers and becomes it's necher v'nasa chalav. The same dam trans whatever in itself.
Crazy.
Into chalav for
there's
the
a lot
baby.
going
That's
on.
why they don't have.
So
their
that's
That's
correct.
literally what happens.
That's literally what
It's
happens.
crazy.
On that boat.
Not very often. Most women. will
Most
not.
women don't,
After-
and when they
after
do,
some-
and when
after
they
some
do,
time,
it's a
it's
different type
then
of dam.
they
It's
can have
not
a
the
baby.
same type of dam. It's not the heavy.
It's a
very
different type of
different
dam and a
dam.
different type of milk.
It's a complete.
I thought there was just a coincidence. I never thought there was actually.
No, the Gemara calls it dam necha v'nasa chalav. Funny enough,
That's how Hashem does things.
also in Bechayres, which is 2 blocks away from where we just started the title of the whole Summer debate tuna. Yeah, that's that high Gavra is 2 blocks away from Dam Nachem Chasal. It's also brought in Masechtas Nida, he says. So that's the idea. When a tzaddik takes the Dam Nida and he's nacheret and it's nasa chalav, he takes the Dam Nida, the separation, the blood, the stains on the clothing, and he makes it white, like the chalav, nasa chalav. Rishon Baba Nisayim going to Mafrusha. Rasha with his avodas, with his avedas, create a separation. Every time we do an aveda, every time we miss the point, we're just heading in the wrong direction, and we need to recalculate, right? Because we keep going in the wrong direction, and every time we do that, there's actually a separation. The relationship is separating. The idea is that we're creating for the Shechina Dam Nida. Va'oz he nikras Ir Hadamim. The whole city is called the Ir Hadamim. V'alzer Rishayim nekram Anshe Damim. Why are Rishayim called Anshe Damim and Merma? Right? We say in Tehillim because it's like the blood, like the stains, because these stains are a separation. Kishisa loisasa. Tluyim b'shisa gidim shesham tahaluchas hadamim. We know there's 365, right? There's 613 mitzvahs. There's 365 of them are loisase. 365 of them are keneged. Our 365 sinews, gidim, our veins and sinews that the blood runs through most, is the loisases. So sham taluchas adamim. The blood flows through our veins and sinews. There's 365 of them in our body. Those are the same 365 mitzvahs loisasa. Ulevchinas loisasa sha'oivrim. And as many loisasas as Rahman al-Itzlan Ayid is over, kain ma'oirin dam nida lashchina. we're actually creating in our sinews and veins a dam nida, a disconnection blood. Kikama mine damam yesh. There's multiple different types of blood in a woman. Sometimes it could be dam nida, sometimes it could be dam nacha benachas chalav. There's different types. B'chein tzarich lahamtik, and therefore we have to sweeten v'lalaben as adam meilu, and to whiten these damim. Hainu l'saken halaven. We have to be super careful in the loisases. Shehem agidin v'lahamshach lehem lavnunas, and to draw whiteness into the redness of all of our bloodstream as it goes through us. B'chen na'am nacha b'nasa chalav. V'zeu b'chalei here b'gadecha levanim b'gidecha daicha lahaf shalem l'dach. B'gidecha, the boigid, Hashamnu bagadnu. What's boigid? Boigid is when we kick away from the loisa. So I'm going to do this anyway. Don't tell me what to do. Draw into begadecha. You're kicking back against your loisa says, and draw into begadecha levanim. Make the boigid. The loisasas levana, make those pure, make those white. Be careful with your loisasas, and that will run into your bloodstream, in your veins and sinews of your loisasas. You know, we have to understand, like we always say, when we comprehend what Bernie was saying the other day, the negative Torah that was given over is, the have to, without any understanding of anything. But when we appreciate one loisasa, one thing that we're not going to do, and we understand it affects a piece of my body physically. If the shasa loisasas and shasa lachim and it's one is one, and I'm drawing it with a conscious idea. When I'm not doing this, it's not like we always say. When you look away from a woman that's walking in front of you on the West Side Highway, and you decide you're turning away, even though you were born with that plug in, that I'm like. So I can either fight myself. No, I'm going to fight myself. I'm not going to look.
Or you're going to
then you're going to break yourself. And you're going to have two. You're going to have a depressed schmuck and a horny depressed schmuck.
And you're going to look
and you're going to look into a double next time.
Right.
So what does it do for you? Unless what you realize is I'm not fighting myself. I'm unplugging this, but I'm creating a new one. I'm creating a new neural pathway. I'm not fighting. I'm not broken soul now. Oh my God! Now I killed myself and I martyred myself. And some people feel the more I martyr myself, the more I'm makriv myself, and I do, the more holy I am. Nothing. You're nothing. You're still garbage. No, plug in something. I saw. This is my new reaction. Is as follows. I don't look. I'm creating my own new reality. It's a very positive thing. I'm drawing white into my loisasas. In anything I hold myself back from on Shabbos, I'm holding myself back from taking out my vape on Shabbos. People, every time you hold back, you're holding back a loisase, you're creating something and you're creating white.
So what's
in your
more
blood
important
cells.
to not do a loisase than to do an asay, or does it?
Right now we're focusing on the shasas. We're not talking about the asays.
Right.
Understanding that within every loisase, every time we hold back, we're creating a new neural pathway. We're not just broken, we're drawing white into the dark, into the red. We're literally uplifting ourselves and cleaning and filtering our own process. It's a positive step. The loisas is a positive step. It's not you can. You're creating something new every time you don't. There's a chiddush in it. It's not just a hold back and I'm breaking myself. I'm creating.
You can.
It's a mitzvah. It's a mitzvah's loisasa. If it's a mitzvah, then it's a connection. That I'm doing something. I'm connecting.
You don't have to do anything actually about it.
And you can be sitting on your couch. That's the beauty. Reading a book. What a chiddush.
Yeah.
Very interesting is the white blood cells.